Hi there everybody, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another one of my Richard's Rock Rambles. We're going to finish off looking at albums that are 50 years old here in 2025. Got another four for you, and four for you. Anyway, these four are essential for each of these artists, and you'll soon see why. So let's kick off, shall we? We're going to start off with a band from Scotland. I think they're still going today. I think they released an album last year with a very different lineup, of course, that being Nazareth. Please excuse the state of this album cover. This is a well-worn second-hand album. It's been through countless people, I'm sure, but the vinyl plays fine. You know, the record player, you don't play the cover, you play the record. That's what I always say. Anyway, Hair of the Dog is the name of the album. One of their best, in fact, I think from the 70s. The best albums are this one, probably top of the heap, then Razamanaz, and then Loud and Proud. Those three are essential 70s albums of Nazareth. 80s and the 90s, they started to produce a bit more sort of commercial siding things. Some of them are a bit iffy. But anyway, let's see who was in the band. Dan McCafferty, that great gravelly voice of his, very similar to Brian Johnson. He was on lead vocals. Manny Charlton, guitars and synthesizers, although I don't think there's too many synths on this album. Pete Agnew, bass guitar and backing vocals, and Daryl Sweet on drums, percussion and backing vocals. So that's the main lineup, or the most well-known lineup of the 70s. I'm not sure if that was the original four guys. And then on guest tableau, I think it is, such a percussion instrument, Simon Phillips. You know, he gets around. I mean, he's been with everybody. So he appears on this album as well. And so what are the tracks on here? Hair of the Dog, the title track. There's some brutal riffs on this album. Probably the heaviest, I think, that Nazareth ever did. Miss Misery, another great riff to that track. There's a lot of melody on here as well. And, yeah, really good band. Tight rhythm section. And then we get to the track, which, of course, everybody knows from this album. It was a huge hit for them, which they had to play in their live concerts. For me, it's the odd one out on here. You know, it's just... It's the schmaltzy love ballad. Yes, Love Hurts. You know Love Hurts. I mean, that thing was played to death on the radio. And when I play this album, I make a point of skipping that track. I really never need to hear that again. Changing Times is the next track. And then Guilty. So that's on side one. Excellent stuff, apart from that schmaltzy ballad. And then we get to side two. Beggar's Day. Really heavy track, that. Rose in the Heather, Whiskey Drinking Woman with some great lyrics, and you know, old Dan McCafferty had just the right kind of voice for that type of song. And Please Don't Judas Me, also brutal riffs, some heavy stuff on here. You know, you don't think Nazareth are up there with the Sabbaths of this world, but they could certainly pump it out. And live, these guys were very good as well. I just love that cover, that sort of crazy dogs. Really interesting cover. You know, back in the day, this is what sold an album for you. Even if you didn't know who the band was, you had no idea what the record sounded like. This is what sold it to you. The album cover made it interesting, you know, made a statement. This one, and I think No Mean City was another one which had a really cool cover. I find today's albums are pretty bland, you know, it's like minimalist deluxe. I mean, that's interesting. Anyway, that's just my take. So that's the first one, Nazareth and Hair of the Dog. Next one up, an album which you all should own, along with Dark Side of the Moon. This is an essential Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, of course, which was a homage to Syd Barrett, the original guitarist and vocalist. In fact, while they were recording this, as legend goes, he was in the studio, but they didn't even know it was him. He looked like a homeless person, and Roger Waters still said to Nick Mason, "You know who that is?" "No, that's Syd." Couldn't believe it. He looked so very different. No hair, just looked unkept and sad. Anyway, and he was there while they were doing this album, which was sort of dedicated to him. How weird is that? Not many tracks, only 5, but this is some incredible stuff on here. Some of the lead guitar work from David Gilmour on this album is just sublime. And of course, you've got Roger Waters on bass and vocals, David Gilmour on guitar and vocals, Richard Wright on keyboards and vocals. You know, Richard Wright's the guy in this band who I don't think gets enough credit. He had a fallout with Roger Waters later on, but there's some amazing synthesized stuff on here, keyboard work, electric piano and what have you. And then of course Nick Mason on drums. So let's see if there's anything I can show you. Inside, this has been released so many times. There's super deluxe versions and God knows how many different albums and CDs and boxes. This is just a pretty ordinary CD. Some interesting photographs inside. I think these came as little cards that you got with your vinyl originally. Here we go with the lyrics. And there's that famous picture of the hands shaking each other there. Oh, there we go, some great hypnosis artwork. There we go, classic stuff. So what are the tracks on here? As I said, not many, just 5 tracks. Shine On You Crazy Diamond with some amazing acoustic work from David Gilmour's, apart from the really good lead breaks, interesting lyrics. Welcome to the Machine, which is all about the machine of big business, I guess. Have a Cigar, the record company business. And I always thought that was Roger Waters on vocals. In fact, it's Roy Harper, their very good friend. Very similar voice. But of useless information for you there. Wish You Were Here, the title track. Beautiful track. Excellent stuff. And then Shine On You Crazy Diamond Part 2. I'm sure most of you guys have this. Any self-respecting classic rock lover has this in his collection with Dark Side of the Moon. And my favorite, which came a little later after this, called Animals. But that was a really dark, very moody album. And that started the sort of Roger Waters takeover, if you like. So there we go. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Next one up, and this is part of a box set that was put out by Sony. They put out a lot of these box sets. Original album classics was the series. This is Jeff Beck. And the album we're going to focus on is Blow by Blow, which is that one there. And there he is playing his Gibson Les Paul. Before he went over to Strats, he played quite a few albums with the Les Paul. Some incredible music on here. This is him during his jazz rock fusion period. So lots of time changes. Stellar guitar work, obviously. All instrumental, but brilliant stuff. I'm going to try and read these small writing here. Jeff Beck guitars, Max Middleton on keyboards, Phil Chen on bass, and Robert Bailey on drums and percussion. So that's who plays on the album. And what are the all-important tracks, you may ask? See if I can get somewhere where there's bigger writing. My failing eyesight. Starts off with You Know What I Mean. She's a Woman. Beautiful track. You know, I don't know, Jeff Beck had such a unique style. It's almost like the guitar is talking to you. It's not just mindless shredding. You know, a lot of thought was put into his playing. Constipated Duck. Great track. Air Blower, Scatterbrain, some incredible drumming on here as well from Mr. Bailey. Of course, We've Ended as Lovers, which became a standard for him. Such an emotive track. Thelonious, obviously a homage to Thelonious Monk. Freeway Jam, which also appears on the live album, which is part of this box set with Jan Hammer. The two of them do that track. Diamond Dust, You Know What I Mean, and She's a Woman. She's a Woman was also, I think, a single that came off here. So these are all the albums you get in this box set. That's the one just called Rough and Ready. A couple of different lineups. That's the one called the Orange album because it had the orange. This is Blow by Blow, which we just chatted about. Wired, and there's the live album with Jan Hammer. Some essential Jeff Beck on here. More concentrating on the sort of jazzy side of Jeff Beck's catalogue. I mean, he did the Power Trio stuff before with Common Appice and Tim Bogert. He's done everything. You know, he's never been a guy to follow trends, or was never a guy to follow trends. Sadly, we lost him a few years back. Very unexpected that was. But yeah, really good stuff. If you're into guitars, Jeff Beck. And then finally, the last one we're going to look at. This is a DVD audio disc. The only DVD audio disc I have in my collection. DTS Queen's A Night at the Opera. The one that really made them famous with that track on it. Yes, we all know the track Bohemian Rhapsody, which I always regard as a progressive rock track because it had all these different parts to it. And that, of course, was their biggest selling album of all time. But there's some other really great tracks on here. Death on Two Legs, which I believe was dedicated to one of the managers or somebody who was giving them grief within the band. Lazing on a Sunday afternoon. And you know, Queen had this amazing ability of making these kind of sort of quirky, almost 1930s, 1920s, jaunty kind of tracks. That's one of them. I think it's probably the only band that could get away with it. I'm in Love With My Car. Now that's my favorite track on here, in fact, a real rocker. And it's got Roger Taylor on vocals. Of course, the other members is Brian May on guitar, Freddie on Mercury on vocals, John Deacon on bass. But yeah, Roger Taylor, great vocalist. He's produced a number of solo albums. And that track on here really is just right for his voice. So that's that. Then you got You're My Best Friend. That was another hit. 39, Sweet Lady, Seaside Rendezvous, another sort of off to the beach we go kind of track. The Prophet song, Love of My Life, which is a beautiful track, which has got Freddie Mercury at his best. Good Company, Bohemian Rhapsody, because you all know that one. And God Save the Queen ends the album. From 1975, what an amazing album. There were some good ones that came out after this. I think News of the World was one, or was that before this? I think it was afterwards. Let's see if there's anything else I can show you. There's some live shots of the band. It's just the lyrics. Yeah, so it's got. You can also get the DVD audio. It's not any sort of movies or anything. They just give you pictures on the DVD, and then it's a different version of the song, I guess. And there's the four guys at the bottom there when they still had long hair. Is there any other shots I can show you? No, that's pretty much it. So there we go. Another four from 1975 albums that have just turned 50 in 2025. Next time around, I think we're going to look at some 40-year-olds and see what I have in my collection. I may not have that many. But yeah, we'll have a look, see what I come up with. Maybe something else. Maybe I'll surprise you all. I do that occasionally. Surprise myself too. Please guys, if you haven't done yet, down below, give me a thumbs up. Or sorry, subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you enjoy the video, a thumbs up. Any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Do you have these albums in your collection? What do you think of them? Are they favorites of yours? Do you not like them? Whatever, let me know. Still hot here in Cape Town. We're in February, so it's the hot month. And yeah, it's not as bad as last year. Last year was a real stinker. But this, we get a lot of where I stay, we get a lot of the sea breeze coming through in the evenings, which is great. Just to cool things down. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you soon. And yeah, look after yourselves. Bye-bye.